Hello everyone, welcome to Fableheim and Happy New Year. I thought I would start 2023 off right with a series of Eratus lore videos about the story of Iratus. In chronological order, you may think that this means starting from the moment Iratus awakens from his prison. But no, my fellow Necromancers. The story of Iratus begins a long time ago.
A millennium ago, a supreme necromancer was on the verge of conquering the world.
Even farther back than that. Today, we'll be talking about the origin of Iratus. Truthfully, there isn't much we actually know about Iratus prior to his time as supreme necromancer, but there are some things that we can infer, such as the fact that Iratus was once little more than a magically inclined human. The only time we actually hear of this is during the construction of the statue of Iratus, when Iratus mentions the Academy.
Now there's a handsome fellow. A shame his talents were never fully recognized back in the Academy. I'll just take all this mana as repayment instead.
Presumably, this means that Iratus first delved into the mysteries of magic at the so-called Academy for Mages, a place that is never again mentioned directly in the game. I think it is safe to say that it was here that Iratus was initially drawn to the dark arts, and was subsequently kicked out for one reason or another. After his expulsion from the Academy, Iratus' thirst for knowledge and power led him to the Necromancer's Guild. Whether this guild existed prior to Iratus' arrival, or whether he himself created it, is unknown. However, we do know that it once existed and that Iratus held the position of authority, thanks to the Black Widow's description. Why do we only reanimate human bodies? Would a lion or wolf not be more destructive? Those were pestering questions Iratus would often hear back in the day when he still took on apprentices. He had to stop practice after accidentally killing his fourth or fifth inquisitive student. After all, the answer is rather obvious. Animals are unable to contain a curse, the most basic component required for reanimation. There may be only a single exception, the curse of malice. While still needing a human base, ideally a wife who has killed her husband, it can spread to animate animal parts as if they were part of the original body. And for Iratus, that works perfectly. Considering the circumstances he is in, he has access to plenty of giant spider nests in the tunnels and a healthy supply of female inmates. The moniker of Black Widow came naturally for these wretched minions. The most important part in the Black Widow's description is that Iratus once took on apprentices. Now that is something that I would like to see. There is one more mention of this Necromancer's Guild in the game, but we'll have to save that for the next video. Further proof of Iratus' once mortality takes place here in the home of his necromantic study. First, one of Iratus' early undead designs, the Bride of Eratus.
A design from my younger years.
Presumably, the Bride of Eratus was designed prior to Eratus' ascension, when his soon-to-be undead heart still beat. Although, there was, supposedly, a purpose for the bride's undying affection. Second is during the opening cinematic.
I was made dead. Again. But what does death really mean for somebody who has mastered it?
Whatever Iratus did to ascend an undeath is very likely to have taken place during his time as leader of the Necromancer Guild, after he had concluded his endless experimentation on curses. Most research involved undead that would later become his arsenal of creations that we know and love today, from the blood phantasm's naturally occurring Curse of Revenge to the primal and not so understood Curse of the Reapers. However, there were instances when Iratus sought research beyond the walls of his sanctum. Within the mercenary barracks on the 4th floor, we encounter the Shadow Elf, a curious being created centuries ago when a few inquisitive members of the Druidic Order experimented with mixing the powers of nature and necromancy, something that Iratus himself might have had a hand in back in the day. As it turns out, sometime after Iratus was defeated, these experiments were uncovered, and the Druids along with their followers were banished underground. Thus, a wholly new type of elven society was formed, wielding magic that gifts them with the ability to control life in unnatural ways. Unfortunate that now this power is being used against the Necromancer, but even undead overlords make mistakes. It does make me wonder just how far Iratus' influence stretched during his prime. Perhaps we will never know. After gathering those similarly inclined to the dark arts, completing a sufficient amount of research, and ultimately ascending as the avatar of death, Eratus launched his assault upon the living world, an assault that we all know ended in defeat.
But what does death really mean for somebody who has mastered it?
Join me next week for part 2 as I delve into a time period of a sickening boredom. The golden era of the living. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed and that you look forward to more Eratus lore videos every Sunday of January, and a very happy 2023 to you all. Thank you to the patrons and channel members who support the channel from the bottom of my heart. And here is to 2023 being the channel's best year yet. Bye!